A lot of people tend to have that thought that I'm better than this person, better than that person, even if they don't necessarily say it. Sometimes we act it out. We act like we're better than this person, or we act like we're better than that person. Sometimes we think that we're smarter than this person or smarter than that person. We tell ourselves that. That's the thought, that I'm better than this person. How does me thinking I'm better than this person or that person translate into the fact that I hate myself? How does that translate into self-hatred? Question. Me thinking I'm better than somebody, how does that translate into self-hate? Question. You thinking that you're better than someone, how does that translate into self-hate? Anyone want to take a shot at that?
What you said the question was again?
How does a person believing that they are better than someone else translate into them hating themselves?
Because I guess if someone feels, superior or whatever, they have to feel that way to feel better about themselves.
Interesting. They have to feel that way in order to feel better about themselves. Very good. Anybody else? Very good. Who was that said that? Jana? Who said that? Musima. Very good. MashaAllah. Very good. Very good. That I have to feel like I'm better than you in order to feel better about myself. Very good. Yes. Somebody else had their hand up. Somebody was getting ready to say something. Go ahead.
The sister basically said what I was going to say, so she hit it right on the head.
Right, mashallah, mashallah. You guys are too smart for me, man. My last group, they was scrambling trying to find an answer to that. You guys are on point, man. So you look at Shaytan. That's our case study today. Take a look at Shaytan. I don't think too many people paid attention to that conversation between Shaytan and God. I don't think too many people paid attention to that conversation in detail. Go back and ponder and reflect on that conversation between Shaytan and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you will see embedded in that conversation some hint of self-hatred. I gotta make myself seem like I'm better than you in order to feel better about myself. That's the only reason why a person would feel so compelled to put somebody down and to make themselves feel like they're better than the other person, because you're trying to make yourself feel good. You're trying to overcompensate, right? Anytime you see a person trying to outshine you, you see a person trying to outdo you, right? Person trying to make themselves seem like they're better than you. That is an indication that they are overcompensating for a lack of security within themselves. There's something about you that you are insecure of. And so you're going to use me, right, as your springboard, your sounding board to prove, or to validate, your worthiness, or to validate, that the fact that you're better than me. You're going to prove that you're better than me only to prove to yourself that you're worthy. Only to prove to yourself that you're worthy. So you're going to use me to do that. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm smarter than you. I'm prettier than you. I have more money than you. And the reason why we do that is because we use those things, right, to make ourselves look better than you in order to prove to ourselves, to validate within ourselves that we are actually worthy, that we actually measure up. It's a lack of self-hatred. Because if you loved yourself, you wouldn't even need to do that. So look at the conversation between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Shaytan. Allah asked Shaytan, what prevented you from prostrating to Adam when I told you to? Ma mana'aka an tasjuda id amartuk. What prevented you from prostrating to Adam when I commanded you to? Because Shaytan, Iblis, saw his prostrating to Adam as a sign that Adam is better than me, I'm nothing. Pay attention. Because sometimes we shrink in the face of somebody else's greatness. That's the problem. We shrink in the face of somebody else's greatness. You walk into a room and, it happens a lot of times in movies where a girl's dating a guy. She's making more money than him. He's, working some odd job or whatever. They go to this highly professional dinner or something. So she's introducing him to her work buddies and her work friends, her colleagues. And he's shrinking in front of these guys because they work with his wife. They seem like, and it's just like, why do you have to shrink in somebody else's greatness? Why can't you just be great and recognize the other person's greatness without having to shrink at all? Why couldn't Shaytan just prostrate to Adam, recognizing Adam's greatness without denying the greatness that he had? Don't you know who Iblis was before he, fell from grace? Azazel was his name. And he was the leader of the jinn. And Allah sent him along with a group of the jinn to the earth to restore order to the earth after the jinns were shedding blood and, killing each other. Allah sent Iblis to the earth to go restore order. Iblis was the only one amongst the jinn who was amongst the angels when Allah told the angels to prostrate. Did you ever stop to think about that? When Allah told the angels to prostrate. And remember when we said to the angels, prostrate to Adam. And Allah says they all prostrated except Iblis. فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسِ كَانَ مِنَ الْجِنِّ. Allah said he was from amongst the jinn. He wasn't an angel. He wasn't a fallen angel as the Christians, have him, pegged as a fallen angel. He wasn't a fallen angel. He was never an angel. He was a jinn. Reason being is because he had the ability to disobey Allah. Angels, the way that Allah describes angels in the Quran, they don't disobey Allah. وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ. And they do exactly as they have been commanded. So the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the angels in the Quran is that they are creatures who do not know how to disobey Allah. Not that they don't disobey Allah. They don't even know how to disobey. They do exactly as Allah commands them to. However, the jinn, on the other hand, they have free will. Which is why Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was sent to a thaqalain, the jinn and human beings. He was not just the prophet of the human being, of mankind. He was also the prophet of the jinn as well. He was also the prophet of the jinn as well. So Shaytan or Iblis was never an angel. So now my question to you is, why is it when Allah said, and we told the angels to prostrate, all of them prostrated except Iblis? If Iblis was not an angel, and he was a jinn, what was he doing amongst the angels? Question. What was he doing amongst the angels if he wasn't an angel? Why he hanging out as a jinn amongst the angels? Question. Question. What was he doing amongst the angels if he wasn't an angel? He used to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the angels. Allah gave him that status, this privilege to serve him while being amongst the angels. That was a status that Allah gave him. It was also a test, obviously, as we can see now, right? We can see now that it was a test. But at the beginning, it was a fadl, it was a bounty, it was a blessing that Allah gave him to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with, the highest of Allah's creatures, the angels, the closest of Allah's creatures to him. And that was a privilege that Allah gave to Iblis that he didn't give to anybody else. So Allah says, what prevented you? Allah is now questioning him. What prevented you from prostrating when I told you to? And what did Iblis say? قَالَ أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْ, I'm better than him. خَلَقْتَنِي مِنْ نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ طِينٍ, I'm better than him. I was created from fire. You created me from fire. You created him from dirt. I'm better than him. You see where that comes from? That comes from an insecurity. It's an insecurity. So I have to put myself above you out of fear that you are above me. I have to put myself above you out of fear that you might be, or I have to put you beneath me out of fear that you might be above me. That's an insecurity. Because if Iblis had just prostrated to Adam, right? Recognizing that, hey, this guy is great. God's last creation. God created him with his own hands, taught him the names of everything and all of the other blessings that Allah gave him, and just acknowledge his greatness without feeling like his greatness is taking anything away from me. He would have been able to prostrate. He couldn't do it though. He couldn't. And then became arrogant when Allah reproached him. But if he had just acknowledged his greatness, and what I'm saying that to say is that there are times when we find ourselves in the same situation. I'm sure everyone here right now has been in a room with someone who you had started to shrink when the person's in the presence of that person's greatness. I have. I can't speak for everybody else, but there have been times in my life when I have been in a room with someone, a group of people, and the person's accolades are being read off or whatever the case may be, and you just start shrinking. You're like, damn, this guy is great. And in that very moment, you're forgetting about your own greatness. I don't have to shrink in front of somebody else's greatness. I can acknowledge your greatness and acknowledge my own at the same time without shrinking. You follow me? You guys get what I'm saying here? And this insecurity may even exist between husband and wife. That's a fact.